George Zimmerman is probably the most controversial and mysterious person in the country right now. A lot of people calling for his arrest. His now former legal advisors were just hoping for a call from him, period. In what many analysts call a bizarre news conference, Zimmerman's lawyers said their client, well, they didn't call them, but they did call Sean Hannity of Fox News.
We learned that he had called Sean Hannity of Fox News directly, not through us, and we believe, I can't confirm this, we believe that he spoke directly with Sean off the record, and he's not even willing to tell us what our client told him.
Sean Hannity felt compelled to respond.
I was contacted by an individual that we, in fact, believe was George Zimmerman. He reached out to me. We spoke on the phone about his case, and I agreed not to report on the contents of that conversation.
Howard Kurtz from the Daily Beast and CNN's Reliable Sources is with us now. Hi, Howie.
Good morning.
First of all, you've been around a long time. As you watched this news conference held by these lawyers, what went through your mind?
This is the most bizarre spectacle I had ever seen. These guys feel compelled to hold a news conference, drop the case, because they can't get their client to return phone calls, respond to emails, respond to text messages, but he's calling up Hannity. I mean, you couldn't write this in a Hollywood movie.
Well, I was just wondering, do you think the lawyers were using the media, or are they really concerned for their client?
Well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they are trying to represent, or were trying to represent, George Zimmerman. They both said that they still believe that he was not guilty of murder. But, lawyers have a responsibility to represent their clients well. And if your client refuses to communicate with you, it's kind of hard to do that.
Well, most attorneys would not advise their clients to call the media, but reporters aren't any under obligation to report what was said to them in confidence by a person accused of a crime, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think Sean Hannity did anything wrong here. I mean, every television show on the planet, I'm sure including some on CNN, is trying to book George Zimmerman. Hannity is the recipient of a call of a guy who says he's George Zimmerman, wants to talk to him off the record. If I had gotten that call, I would have said, fine. You figure maybe you establish a rapport with the person. Maybe you can convince them to come on the air later. Maybe you can learn something, even if it's off the record, that might inform your coverage. So I don't have any problem with Hannity. It does tell us something about Zimmerman, that he's a Fox News fan, probably a Hannity fan, and that he felt compelled to want to tell his side, or at least establish some kind of contact with Sean Hannity while he's blowing off his lawyers.
Well, it is interesting, when you watch the media, when you watch Fox and when you watch MSNBC, there kind of are clear lines drawn. So maybe it's no surprise that George Zimmerman chose to call Fox.
Carol, I have almost never seen anything like the ideological split here. For the first week or two, Fox News played down this case, and then as more evidence started to come out that the Zimmerman had told the police that Trayvon Martin had attacked him and that he was acting in self-defense, Fox jumped on this and many segments and interviews seemed to be taking, or at least sympathetic to, Zimmerman's side, whereas MSNBC, led by Al Sharpton, who has a show there and, of course, is calling for Zimmerman's arrest, very much in the camp of Trayvon Martin. And so it has become very polarized. And so you're right. Not surprising if he's going to call some network that George Zimmerman would call Fox.
Interestingly enough, the Martin family is going to an event hosted by Al Sharpton, and they'll be appearing together later this afternoon. So you're right. It's been a strange split. I just want to play you a bit of what Rush Limbaugh had to say, because it's not just Fox News. It's sort of like, I don't want to call it a conservative movement. I'll leave that to you, Howie. But let's listen to what Rush Limbaugh said about George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin.
The Trayvon Martin situation caused happiness somewhere in the civil rights community because it gave them a shot in the arm. It launched them. It allowed them to get in gear and to start leveling the charges that they always loved to make about the country.
So it's become very political, hasn't it?
Political and polarized. Now, and I will disagree with it to this extent. I don't think anybody is happy about the killing of an unarmed 17-year-old teenager. But it is true that some people on the liberal side, the civil rights side, are using this case to take a stand against, what they see as anti-black prejudice, what they see as lax gun control laws and things like that. And people on the other side, I didn't mean to suggest it was just Fox News, conservative columnists, commentators, pundits, you name it, certainly being much more sympathetic to George Zimmerman. And at this point, I'm compelled to add, Carol, we still don't know what happened. And when Zimmerman, not talking to his own lawyers, but talking only off the record to Sean Hannity, it's going to be a while until we find out, or at least find out more about what happened on that tragic night.
Howard Kurtz, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Carol. Good to talk to you.